It's coming up to 8 a.m. Let's see if anything happens. Nothing interesting happened between 7 and now. NCI popped up, but that's continuation. It has no news. And it's Chinese, so I didn't trade it. But that's what it looked like. Kinda choppy, probably. Hard to trade. I left it alone. And it went down pretty hard. Almost right on the day. Alright, there. Oh, cheaper. I guess I might move it up over here. Tops. Tops. Energy, fossil fuels. Just for fun. Ugh, big spread. Odd. Odd, odd, odd. Top ship announces agreement to acquire 9 eco tanker. New buildings with time charter employment and potential gross revenue backlog of about 679 million. I'm gonna watch this for the curl. Curl back up, but I don't know. Not too sure about it. size. I don't like that 5,000 share seller at 610. Honestly, I just want it to drop down so that I can stop looking at it and stop thinking that I want to trade it. Not interested in IKT. And since the market's so cold, I only want to trade the best possible setups. And whenever it pops up like this and then sells off really rapidly back down to where it started, I don't see it as a good setup. If it were to pop up, drop down to maybe here, and if this candle was up here, then I mean, yeah, I'd hop in. But if I had pulled up by that point, close to it, so it sucks that it seems that the news is delayed by a minute or two when it tops. Yeah, 2 minutes when it says it came out at 8. Didn't seem to update right away. But I guess it only matters sometimes. Just IKT coming up. Not interested in it because no news, pretty big float. Take a look at it here in a second. 6% on that day. And a big move on Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. Not too interested in that. IKT is pulling back to VWAP. See if it holds the 240 support level. Seems like it does. I don't know. I feel like it might either be going sideways for a little bit, or it's gonna start to go down. But I will be watching for a break of 250 on the 5 minute. If this red candle closes in 10 seconds, which I'm hoping it does, because it could be a relatively low risk trade. I don't know how much profit I'll get out of it, but the risk will be low. I would like some wiggle room though. 5 cents. Oh, that's really thickly traded, which is good. You don't really have to worry about big, 10, 20 cent drops because someone on the bid or ask will catch them. But I guess drops or gains. I guess it's kind of the pros and cons. Pros, you don't have to worry about a big 20% drop really. Still happens sometimes, but normally if it drops heavy, it'll drop like only a couple cents. And even if it does it pretty fast, it won't be like a stock with a lower float. However, the con is either it doesn't have the it doesn't have the head of steam to also go up 20 cents a share in or more in less than a minute. You see, like right there, if I would have taken that trade on the 5 minute chart because it was above 250, would have gotten 2 cents up, and it just rejected. So, but yeah, I've realized trade I don't trade lower price stocks that well, and I don't trade higher float stocks. I don't think I've ever really traded higher float stocks, and because they both have the same thing in common. When they're cheaper, the bid and ask are usually stacked more like this, and then Yeah, with a higher float, this the same thing's true. So I just avoid them altogether. Add KNRX. Oh, that was the one. Yeah, that was the one that was right on the day already. GNPX. This one sounds familiar. Has it popped up recently? January, maybe? Oh, it's probably. I think it's a similar. Yeah, I've definitely traded. I don't know if I've traded it before, but I've definitely seen it before. So January was a month where it decided to do stuff. Okay. Legion. Basically, right now I'm waiting for 8:30. Is it a buyout or something? 166 million. Crazy. Crazy. KT has dropped below VWAP. This is a familiar stock. I wonder if I should pull up. I think there's a. Is there a low float top gainer somewhere? Oh, there it is. And can I just throw this right here? Yes. I'd actually rather throw this. Um, I feel like I need something here. What could I put there? Halt. Because recently we've been getting stocks if they are halted with news, so make a decent move. I mean, they'll give it all back at 5 minutes, but uh, mm, yeah, that speaks volumes. Mm, scan. Mm, huh. I mean, do I throw on the halt? Gauze. Oh, frick. UHG. 725. So it opened to 805. No one cared about that one. this? I don't mind this setup, I don't think. I feel like I need something here. But that's like super small. Mm, we'll stick with this for now. Keep it simple. Oh, I think I need to go in and save on the main screen. Save all windows. Yeah. Alright, so I'm running up the high of day momentum scanner, top gainers, and then low float top gainers so I could see, because there'll be less on here, so I could see if one starts to move up before it hits running up or high of day for whatever reason. I like seeing all the blue though, it makes it easy. And then I got a halt because for the past 2 or 3 weeks now, sometimes the stock that's halted, you won't know about it, and then it'll come out with news and pop up. Does it tell me the reason? No. I think I'd have to go into oh, SSTK. Getty Images and Shutter stock receive unconditional antitrust clearance from the U.S. government for. Oh, Shutterstock. I mean, I'm not gonna trade it. Bigger float, kind of proposed news, proposed merger. Speculative. Not that this is. Not that stuff I do isn't speculative, but it's also shortable. So yeah. But Shutterstock isn't that like a scrapbooking, or is that Shutterfly? Yeah, Shutterfly. Shutterstock is a music company. Images, AI, PNGs, real images, photos, videos, music, and generative AI if you need it. Your plan, your way, your price. Oh, it's just a stock. Oh, okay. Then Getty Images must be the same thing. Royalty-free stock photos. If I was having a merger, because Shutterstock sounded like it was just a prescription or a subscription thing. Well, might be another no trade day. Not that those are not common this month, but that's okay. Up 60 cents on the month. And I'm okay with it. I don't wanna give any of that back. I'm okay with a break even, slightly green month because I haven't had one of those in 4 months. Every single month has been red. And I finally kind of figured out what I should be doing. Getting in quicker on the 10-second chart, and then of course the market cools off rather quickly. I mean, I think the market has been relatively cool for the past 3 to 4 months anyway. But February is the coldest I've ever seen it. And I mean, I've only been doing this for just over a year. So I came in 24, and that was a hot cycle. And in the simulator, I made a lot of money, which I felt great. And then I switched to real money, and everything that comes with that happened. So I was losing some money in 25, and towards the end of 25, it slowed down. I wasn't as consistent as I wanted to be. Like I said, I'd only been trading Mondays and Fridays, and then I switched to trying to do every day, but that rarely happened until probably about November. I think November, October, September. September was a good month. In September, I traded during the week more than just Mondays and Fridays. But yeah, it's been a rough couple months. Uh, yeah, not a huge amount of confidence, but not a huge amount of, I guess, worry or nervousness. It's just because it's so cold. Yeah, I find myself second guessing myself a decent amount. Um, but I mean, not on stocks like SSTK or even IKT. Like I was not really looking to trade that. Yeah, I mean, it's did a complete round trip. But I'm not a morning person, so sometimes it's hard to get out of bed in the morning whenever it's like, well, I might just sit here for 2 hours and, you know, talk to myself and not take a single trade because nothing's good. I don't know if you guys remember a couple weeks ago when I took a trade off of, it was a 10, which one, who was it? It had to have been, yeah, ELAB. I have it here. I have a picture of it here. ELAB, 10-second chart, had a big red candle after a big green candle. And I took a dip trade. Yeah, I took a dip trade. Um, and I got in a little higher than I wanted to. So now granted, this stock had popped up previously a couple times, but yeah, with the big red candle, I bought it and it dropped off just like this actually. Fairly similar. Fairly similar. So I avoid those. FBIO. Just watching it. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna take a trade on this. Don't think I'm gonna take a trade on this. Let's see, so I pulled up here. Yeah, there was nothing to really do with that one. Wow, and it's gonna get rid of the day. Possibly. Well, could have avoided that. I thought I was too interested in trading it anyway because it had a high float of over 20 million shares. But I mean, hey, it definitely set off alerts. Fortress Biotech subsidiary Kyprium Pharmaceuticals enters into agreement to sell rare pediatric disease priority review voucher for 205 million. Whatever that is. What the heck's a priority review voucher, and why is it being sold for 205 million? Legion? Oh, Legend. Legend Biotech Corporation. No news. Huge company. And FBI sold off hard. It's gonna be zero. Literally gave back everything. Wow. Holy crap. You know, I was thinking about buying the dip down here, and then my stop would be 4. And as soon as I went to hit shift 1, it dropped down to 4, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it dropped way below 4. All right, yeah, that's right in here. It's like, oh, okay, all right, I could get, and then wham. All right, so that was for the best. But yeah, Doji candle. I bet I bet some people bought it around 420, 425, 430. Anyway, well, that was 8:30. Sometimes 8:45 has something, but I don't think so. FBI is curling back up. I don't know if you could call that a curl though. I think it would have to get up to around 4 to start to think of that as a curl, or around 4. But I guess maybe you just have to wait for tomorrow. And tomorrow, nothing happens between 7 and 8 because of how cold the market is. Which is unfortunate because on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it's the only time I'm allowed to trade. Able, not allowed. Able to trade. And then, of course, between 8, 9, and sometimes 9 to 9:30, even in the open, that's when, you'll get a decent move. And sometimes the only move of the week, 1 or 2 moves a week happen like that. And I won't be able to trade them. And that's why haven't taken, I've only taken 2 trades this month, which is, I mean, I think really bad. Not bad in the sense of, good risk management, good control, good discipline, but the sense that, I mean, 2 trades in 30 days, I feel like rusty. I feel rusty. I feel like I wouldn't be as quick as if I was trading every day, or up to speed on everything. If I wasn't trading every day, here I am just watching stuff pop up and reverse in a minute. Literally a minute. I guess 2 minutes. You could say 2 minutes, but still, it's just like avoid everything unless it doesn't look like. As soon as it starts to look choppy, just don't look at it. If it looks like this the whole time, I mean, literally, not even that's not even a good example. Um, oh, Getty's popping up because of the whole Shutterfly merger discussion. Uh, would be a was Top's a good example? Oh, was Top's a good example? Mm, nope, that's Daily Retard. Mm, no, Tops was not a good example. But I mean, I can get the point across for this. If it pops up like this, not even this much, but then you know drops down a little bit, and then you start to see volume start to come back in. Fine, hey, I'll punch it. I'll go for it. but not when every single stock that's popped up to where it's hit the scanners. I've pulled it up and then it's in this area and it just kept going down. Not into that. Not looking for that. Don't wanna touch that. NCI. What'd that look like? Yeah, and then popped up, gave it back. Popped up, half, not too bad. Popped up a little higher and sold off. So yeah, I mean that was at 747. But yeah, I mean three stocks between 4 and 7. At 7, higher priced, high priced, huge price. And then NCI was just continuation. I don't really trade continuation like I've mentioned before. I don't like I just I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like that there's not a reason necessarily for it to be moving higher. It's like sympathy volume. I mean, it's been moving up these past couple days, but definitely not on as much volume. It's the reason it moved up 50 cents a share on 700,000 shares of volume. Pretty crazy. OBAI. Bond selected at 300 billion. Global pharmaceutical leader to protect employees. Uh, okay. Oh. So they had an agreement worth 250,000, and then one of the five pharmaceutical companies that are huge bought it. Okay, okay. It's, it's popped up though. AI. This isn't too thickly traded. I would trade this one, but recent IPO sold off hard. Excuse me. Just kind of watching. I don't know. Just kind of watching. At this point, it's so late in the morning. I wouldn't want to take a trade and lose. I feel like that would just ruin my day. So I'm just watching. I don't feel like it would ruin my day. I know it would, even if the loss wasn't. Well, it wouldn't ruin my day, but it'd be like, ah, oh, darn. I'm not too worried about losing anymore, especially at 10 shares. Now, if I were to have 100 shares, it'd be a little more. Um, I'd be a little more. I guess I'd be a little more upset about it. But at this point, I really think so. I'm kind of numb to losing since I've done it for 4 months straight, and it's just kind of like well, whatever. And then whenever I make money, it's also kind of numb. And I mean that's why I didn't trade. I mean, well, I would have gotten it at 40. I mean, it would have been nice, but it's just I don't know why I talk like I'm looking for home runs. I'm not looking for. I would be happy with 10 cents in this market, but it was just choppy. And I really did think about getting in it right here. So I was like, oh, well, what am I gonna do? Lose 2 cents, whatever. But or maybe I wait for down to here. Maybe and was that like 10 cents, a dollar? Meh, not a not a big deal. So I did think about getting in here. Maybe I should have, but yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, I didn't want to take a loss with 15 minutes before I'm done for the day on Mondays. Fridays though, I could trade all day if I wanted to. Just how my schedule is. Not all day, but at least definitely until 9:30. So OBAI. That was a pretty dramatic sell-off. I won't lie. For only having 40,000 shares. It's a lot. I mean, how do you look at this chart? Like, if you're a guy that trades 5 minute, how do you look at this chart and think, oh yeah, that's something I'm willing to buy. It's not even hard to bar or anything. Does that mean it's not even shortable? It has to be shortable. When did IPO? February 4th. And now it's only up 6% on the day. Oh, 8. So now it's like, would you consider this career leg up? FBIO. I already looked at this one, didn't I? Yes. Yes, I had looked at it. It is popping back up, though. I mean, same with OBAI. So now it's like, well, if I buy it now, then it's like, I'd rather have bought it here and gone in way early. Like here, I don't think so. No, too much risk in this cold market. If it was a hot market, sure, fine. I In a hotter market, I don't see why I wouldn't, curl back up to at least somewhere around 245, maybe even 250. I don't see why I wouldn't do that. There's no signs being like it was saying that it wouldn't. I mean, yeah, there's a steep drop off where it gave it all back, but if it's curling back up, you know, I don't see why it wouldn't. But in a cold market, it pops up like this, it could just as easily go right back down. It could also just keep going up. But that's why and back, 2 months ago, during the months that I was red, I probably would have taken that trade and either made 2 cents a share or lost. Um, but now I'm only for this part. This part, the initial part of the move, if it looks good and not choppy like this, still kind of beating myself up that I didn't buy it here because there was literally no risk. No, there was not a lot of reasons why I shouldn't have. But anyway, um, yeah, I'm for this. I'm not for the whole, either buy the dip or somehow catch a falling knife or have it buy it coming back up. At least in this market. Half me just to shut everything down, just so I don't have to look at it. Just so there's no temptation that I would take a trade at this point. But I'm not counting it out. I'm not counting it out. Something amazing could come across my desk in less than 10 minutes. Maybe something at 8:53 pops up, doesn't pull back that big on the 10-second chart. I get in and you know have a decent little trade. You never know. You can hypothesize based on the day. I could hypothesize that, yeah, no, in the next 10 minutes, I don't think anything's going to happen. And, there's probably a larger chance that I'd be right. What was that? Apple rumored to have kicked off trial production of iPhone 18 Pro with new flash chipstick with same design but a boatload of internal upgrades. Really? I mean, of course, same design. It hasn't changed in years. I mean, I guess the cameras got bigger between the Pros of like the 14 and the 15 and 16, but on that same design. It's not like you went from the iPhone 8 or 7 to the 8 or 8 to the X where you had the vertical cameras. It's at that point with a phone where unless you don't unless you buy like one of the folding phones or just something unusual, upgrading every year doesn't really make sense anymore. Back, you know, 5, 8, 10, 7, 8, 7, 10 years ago, it made sense depending on who you were to upgrade every year because the jumps were pretty big. But now, I mean, I don't know about any of the people watching this, which is not that many, but if anyone at all. But I mean, I don't upgrade my phone every year. I never have, and I'll keep the same phone for 4 or 5 years because you're going from something 5 years old to something relevant, new. that came out that year. Hey, that's a big step, but not so much every year. And I don't see anything happening. My 853 call didn't really work out, I guess. But yeah, OBAI has sold off. Like I said, the whole pop up and sell off, and then FBIO, that one also popped up recently. Yeah, 850. It has since given back that entire move in one candle. It sold it all off. I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up. FBIO. See, this is when it hit first time, and then at 50 it popped up a little more, and then sold off, 50 cents. They had more news at 8:35. I don't understand how it didn't pop up at 8. Was it halted? No. So I don't understand why. I mean, nothing. Literally didn't do anything at 8. You think it? You think it would have? That doesn't sound like bad news to me. A license agreement for ATX-04 for the treatment of Pompe disease. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound like a bad thing. Especially compared to everything that happened at 8, which was nothing. Nothing popped up at 8. It's like all the retail traders are sleeping in more and more, which I don't blame them. I'm kind of the same way half the time. Like last week, there were 2 days, 3 days I didn't trade because I'm just like, no point. And you know what? I would have only been able to trade from 7 to 7:30, 7:45, if that. And every single day, nothing happened for those amount of times. There's nothing up that I would have taken a trade on. So I don't even feel like I wasted any time. I wish I traded. I wish I got more experience. But, you know, you can only do what the market gives you. And at the moment, the market doesn't isn't offering that much. And I don't really want to just trade to lose. I'm trying to be better at that. I've done that for the past 4 months. So, but anyway, it's coming up to 9, so that's gonna be it for me. And we'll just take a look tomorrow, and hopefully it'll be a little better. And hopefully I'll take a trade and can post a short on it so that I can review it quickly and other people can see it. So, all right, well, we'll see what happens tomorrow.